The governor of the Southwest region, Bernard Okaliabilai, has ordered the immediate closure of coastal beaches in the Fako division identified as entry points for clandestine importation of fuel, illicit drugs, and other contraband. The ongoing conflict in South Sudan is pushing the country's fragile healthcare system to the brink with damaged medical facilities, shortages of essential supplies, and the millions left without access to life-saving care. Lionel Messi once again proved why he remains football's biggest match-winning inspiration. Argentina to a stunning comeback as the defending champions overturned a 2-goal deficit to beat Egypt 3-2 and book their place in the FIFA World Cup quarter-finals. Televiewers, you are tuned to News Hour on Royal Television. We are the new vision of Africa here in Boya, Southwest region of the country, and I welcome you to today's newscast. The governor of the Southwest region, Bernard Okaliabilai, has ordered the immediate closure of coastal beaches in the Fako division, identified as an entry point for clandestine importation of fuel, illicit drugs, and other contraband. This move is aimed at strengthening cross-security border activities in the Southwest region, as Natalie Juma tells us more.
The tour comes shortly after a directive was addressed to the senior divisional officer of Fako, Viang Mekala, and all divisional officers in the division, instructing local administrative authorities to ensure the effective shutdown of beaches allegedly being exploited by smuggling networks. The governor of the Southwest region, Bernard Okaliabilai, revealed that the measures form part of ongoing efforts to protect public safety, combat organized crime, and reinforce state control over the region's coastline. The directive was issued during a field visit to beaches in Limbe, recently aimed at reinforcing government's ban on illicit night operations and dismantling fraudulent practices that have long been plaguing the coastal town. Also reinforced the crackdown on night offloading at authorized beaches, notably at Tiko Waf, Bota Beach, and Idina Beach.
We have instructed the local authorities, I mean the GO, the SDO, the commissioner, to close all the clandestine beaches. Because those clandestine beaches, a priori, to traffic fuel, but beyond the fuel, you have the drugs, you have all type of product like arms and munitions and many other illegal traffic.
Authorities revealed that the affected beaches have increasingly been used as unauthorized landing sites for fuel, narcotics, and other prohibited goods entering the country outside official border control channels.
Close to fight the functioning of clandestine beaches. And we count on you, the media, to carry the message. You have seen, you have observed this last time, that the entire population in the Southwest from divisions are raising to fight, condemn consumption of drugs. Those drugs are passing where? Through those clandestine beaches. So it should not be seen like if we don't want the people who are beside the sea to benefit from this or that. No. They should enjoy the sea, the fishing, this and that, but according to the laws and the regulation in force and the local measures put in place by the local authorities.
The illegal trade has raised concerns over its impact on public security, government revenue, and local economy. Accompanied by administrative officials, defense and security forces, and custom representatives, the officials have been directed to work closely with law enforcement agencies, security forces, and local communities to enforce the order and prevent further illegal activities along the coast. Increased surveillance and regular patrols are also expected to accompany the implementation of the directive. The closure is likely to affect individuals and groups involved in informal maritime trade, although authorities maintain that the action is necessary to dismantle criminal networks and restore order along the coastline.
The fight against drug use and the illicit drug consumption continues to intensify in Cameroon's southwest region of the country as the population of Akona has joined the rest of the nation to stage an uprising to oust this practice. Details of this and more in our subsequent story. The population of Akona has joined the rest of the nation to stage an uprising in the fight against drug abuse and illicit drug consumption. They came out in their numbers, from children to parents and the elderly, all chanting lines such as "No more drugs." Fighting drug abuse in Cameroon has become a critical national emergency, with an estimated 25% of the population experimenting with hard drugs and 60% of users aged between 20 and 25 years. The crisis is further driven by porous borders, regional conflicts, and the easy availability of substances like cannabis, tramadol, and crack cocaine near schools. There has been a recent upsurge in the use of drugs, especially amongst young girls, with some even recording high levels of addiction. The recent local protests in Akona and other communities heavily impacted by addiction in the southwest, amongst others, ushers in a nationwide cry for help, while the staging of peaceful marches and stand-ups against local suppliers intensifies. Civil society organizations and non-governmental organizations plus local human rights groups are organizing continuous awareness campaigns to educate the vulnerable youthful population. On her part, the government of Cameroon has responded with an institutionalized national response strategic plan through the Ministry of Public Health by launching the 2024-2030 National Strategic Plan. Meantime, security crackdown by law enforcement personnel continue as they keep intercepting and destroying large shipments of narcotics. However, the way forward shows a dire need for rehabilitation, given that the psychosocial crisis demands integrative holistic therapy rather than just punishment. Therefore, there is an urgent call for more affordable rehabilitation centers and psychiatric support from government, churches, civil society organizations, international bodies, plus well-wishers, especially as the cost of living rising by the day in Akona, Boya, and all over the national territory.
No more drugs. Yes. No more welcome. Yes. No more welcome. No more welcome. No more fighter. No more fighter. Yes. We are on it. No more. No more.
88 youth representatives across Africa are debating issues surrounding peace and climate under the banner of the Francophonie Youth Parliament, which is on the way in Yaoundé, the nation's capital. In the upcoming story, Staffman Mwambo delves into the realities of this diplomatic meetup, as you'll get to hear.
We are in the middle of the Francophonie Youth Parliament. Young delegates from 88 member states and governments of the International Organization of La Francophonie have gathered. Suits, flags, draft resolutions, speeches in French. On the surface, it looks like democracy in training. On the ground, the question is harder. Is this a real space for youth to shape policy? Or is it a talk shop for photo opportunities? Let us be analytical and start with the promise. The Francophonie says youth make up 60% of its population. This parliament is supposed to be where that 60% learns lawmaking, diplomacy, and compromise. Delegates debate real issues: climate adaptation, digital education, the French language and employment, peace and security in the Sahel. They draft resolutions, they vote, they go back home as ambassadors of Francophonie values. That matters, because if we do not train young people in parliamentary process now, we will keep complaining about bad governance later. That leads us to the reality gap. Compare this to other youth parliaments that actually move policy. In Canada, the youth parliament's recommendations are tabled in the House of Commons. In Belgium, former youth members of parliament become real members of parliament. In Senegal, youth parliament alumni are now mayors and deputies. Here, most resolutions from the Francophonie Youth Parliament end in a report. They are not building. No budget follows them. No government is obligated to implement them. And too often, selection is by political appointment, not by open contest. So you get the children of party officials, not the best debaters from around the world. Here is the brutal truth. Parliaments are judged not by speeches, but by what changes after. If a delegate from Douala goes back and cannot get her resolutions on youth unemployment to her municipal council, then what was the point? If another delegate from Abidjan learns procedure but still cannot get a job because the system is closed, then we have trained him to lose better. So the challenge to the international organization of La Francophonie and
President Paul Biya's brief visit abroad has now been termed a one-month stay, much to the dissatisfaction of many Cameroonians. Contrary to public opinion, Mwambo Williams in the upcoming report says Cameroonians say the presidency owes them more explanations. More than that,
it has been 1 month since President Paul Biya left Cameroon for what the presidency called a brief private visit abroad. 1 month of communique, rumors, and silence. And Cameroonians are asking again, how brief is brief? Let us start with the facts. According to the official communique, the head of state traveled for rest, a private visit, no agenda, no return date. That is his constitutional right. As president and as citizen, he is entitled to leave, to medical care, to privacy. No law forces him to announce every hotel or hospital he visits. But that brings us to the law. The Constitution of Cameroon does not set a limit on how long a president can stay outside the country. What it requires is continuity of the state. Article 8 allows the president to delegate signature. Article 9 provides for interim in case of vacancy or impediment. The problem is not what the law says. It is what the law does not say. There is no definition of brief, no obligation to update the public weekly, and in that gap, anxiety grows. We have seen this before. Brief visits that became weeks, then months. Institutions kept running, but public trust did not. And the timing makes it worse, because this absence comes at a sensitive moment. The promised cabinet shake-up has been pending for weeks. Cameroonians have been told to expect changes in the days ahead. 1 month later, nothing. In government, suspense paralyzes. No one signs. No one decides. At the same time, a forced decree announcing a reshuffle went viral. The presidency denied it, but people believed it. And that tells you something. Democracy needs predictability, not 24 hours a day, 7 days a week cameras. Parliament should set a limit for presidential absence without formal delegation. President Biya has a right to rest, but the presidency is a public trust. 1 month abroad is not a crisis. 1 month of silence is. Because when the captain is away, the crew deserves to know who is on the bridge and when he is coming back.
Away from that story, we now take you out of the country, and we are precisely in South Sudan, where the ongoing conflict in South Sudan is pushing the country's fragile healthcare system to the brink, with damaged medical facilities, shortages of essential supplies, and the millions of persons left without access to life-saving care. And also away from South Sudan, we are in Pakistan, where reportedly they are playing a diplomatic role in efforts to reunify Libya as talks aim to bridge the existing political divisions and strive to advance a lasting national reconciliation, as Staff Lady Nanga Sonia puts us through.
South Sudan's worsening conflict is placing enormous pressure on the country's healthcare system, with the International Committee of the Red Cross reporting a 50% rise in medical evacuations during the first half of 2026. Fighting between forces loyal to President Salva Kiir and opposition groups aligned with rival Riek Machar has left thousands of civilians cut off from essential health care, forcing critically injured patients to be flown to Juba Military Hospital for emergency treatment. The Red Cross says the growing violence combined with shrinking humanitarian funding has reduced healthcare services across the country and placed increasing strain on referral hospitals. Medical teams are now responding to mass casualty incidents, with specialist nurses triaging the most critically wounded before evacuating them by air, while others wait for transport as resources remain stretched. The organization says surgeries at Juba Military Hospital have risen sharply this year as attacks have forced several aid-run hospitals to close, leaving hundreds of thousands of displaced people with limited access to life-saving care. South Sudan gained independence in 2011, but civil war soon erupted between rival factions. Although in 2018 peace agreement reduced the fighting, the latest resurgence of violence is threatening to unravel those fragile gains and deepen one of Africa's most severe humanitarian crises. Pakistan has reportedly begun mediation efforts to reunify Libya, according to reports. The North African country plunged into chaos after the ouster of longtime leader Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. It's since been run by two governments. Talks reportedly began last year when both Libyan sides asked Pakistan to get involved. The US, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Turkey are also set to support the process. A proposed reunification plan would create a 36-month transitional power-sharing setup with Dieba as prime minister and Haftar's son Saddam leading the presidential council. The plan also gives Haftar's faction budget authority due to its control of the country's major oil fields and infrastructure.
Now we talk sports, as Lionel Messi once again has proven why he remains the football biggest match winner, inspiring Argentina to a stunning comeback as the defending champions overturned a 2-goal defeat to beat Egypt 3-2 and book their place in the FIFA World Cup quarterfinals. Switzerland also urged Colombia 4-3 on penalties after a tense goal-level draw to set up a mouth-watering last-8 meeting. Kosona Claudia with the details.
Argentina produced one of the most dramatic comebacks of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, rallying from 2-0 down to defeat a spirited Egypt 3-2 in Atlanta and keep their title defense alive. Egypt stunned the reigning champions when Yasser Ibrahim headed them in front in the 15th minute before Mustafa Zico doubled the advantage in the 67th minute, leaving Argentina staring at a shock elimination. Messi's first half penalty miss appeared destined to haunt his side as Egypt defended bravely. But when Argentina needed inspiration, Messi delivered. Christian Romero ignited the comeback with a towering header in the 79th minute before Messi leveled 4 minutes later with a clinical finish to spark wild celebration among the Argentine fans. Deep into stoppage time, Enzo Fernandez completed the remarkable turnout with a powerful header, sending Argentina into the quarterfinals. Messi's influence stretched beyond his goal. The veteran captain drove Argentina's late resurgence with his leadership, creativity and relentless determination, once again showing why he remains the heartbeat of Lionel Scaloni's team. His equalizer was his 8th goal of the tournament and extended another remarkable chapter in his legendary World Cup career. Meanwhile, Switzerland secured the final quarterfinal berth after defeating Colombia 4-3 in a penalty shootout following a disciplined 0-0 draw. The Swiss held their nerve from the spot to eliminate South Americans and book a blockbuster quarterfinal against Messi's Argentina.
The governor of the Southwest region, Bernard Okalia-Bilai, has ordered the immediate closure of coastal beaches in the Fako division identified as entry points for clandestine importation of fuel, illicit drugs and other contraband. This move is aimed at strengthening security and the curbing illegal cross-border activities in the Southwest region. The ongoing conflict in South Sudan is pushing the country's fragile healthcare system to the brink with damaged medical facilities, shortages of essential supplies and millions left without access to life-saving care. And in Pakistan, it's reportedly playing a diplomatic role in efforts to reunify Libya as talks aim to bridge political divisions and advance a lasting national reconciliation. Time for us to talk sports. Well, Lionel Messi once again has proven why he remains football's biggest match winner, inspiring Argentina to a stunning comeback as the defending champions overturned a 2-goal deficit to beat Egypt 3-2 and booked their place in the FIFA World Cup quarterfinals. Switzerland also urged Colombia 4-3 on penalties after a tense goalless draw to set up a mouth-watering last 8 meeting. You are tuned to the newscast on Royal Television. Unfortunately, we have come to the end, but tomorrow I will be here for news presentation, and we are asking you to stay tuned to programs on Royal Television. We are the new vision of Africa. Bye-bye.